Good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you are, and welcome to a NerdTube and no budget production Spider-Man No Way Home official trailer review reaction something. Uh, they just decided to drop this, and obviously Sony's been listening because they knew that I was going to be off work this afternoon instead of releasing it during the day. I am joined, of course, by the illustrious Stanley of Fan Films, V-Man Vance. How you doing?
Not too bad. They were working around your schedule, man. That's what's up.
I know normally Zam does these because they come out during the day and Zam gets home before I do, but now Zam's in bed and I get to do this one. Plus, I'm the Spider-Man guy, so
Yeah,
and I am
thrips and quips, baby.
Quips and Quips. That's right. I'm gonna say I'm totally stoked to be joined by my Quips and Thwips normal co-host. I don't know if I can consider anyone a normal co-host because I've only done like 3 episodes of it or something like that.
Right.
So, all right. Well, I guess we're gonna jump right into the trailer. And now me and Vance have both seen this trailer, but I do have some interesting things I want to talk about. Do you want to just pause it as we go, or do you just want to watch it and then we go back and break it down?
Let's watch it and break it down so everyone can see it. Because I mean, yeah, let's do that, man, and then we'll go back.
All right, here we go.
Ever since I got bit by that spider, I've only had 1 week where my life has felt normal.
Okay,
That was
the
when you
helicopter
found
says
out.
wipe.
When you botched that spell where you wanted everyone to forget the Peter Parker Spider-Man, we started getting some visitors. From every universe. Hello, Peter. You're not Peter Parker.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Otto Octavius.
I love.
Wait, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
There are others out there. We need to send them back. So, Scooby-Doo this crap.
You know, all
Scooby-Doo
this is
crap.
kind of your mess. I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap.
Stephen Strange, so good with kids.
You're flying out into the darkness to fight ghosts.
What do you mean?
They all die fighting Spider-Man.
I love how they kind of break the fourth wall with the Otto Octavius stuff, laughing at his name. Like most of us did as kids.
Yeah,
Right?
me too.
Don't.
See, this is some of the stuff though that I kind of wish they would have saved for the actual
They're a
movie.
danger to our universe. You're not gonna take this away from me.
Peter, you're struggling to have everything you want while the world tries to make you choose.
This is all my fault. I can't save everyone.
Boy, it wouldn't be a Spider-Man franchise without one of the damsels falling from a high area.
What's happening?
They're starting to come through, and I can't stop them. December 17th, exclusively in movie theaters. Tickets on sale November 29th.
So that you hear that, everybody? December tickets on sale November 30th. So look on November 30th for tickets because they're definitely not coming out on December 29th when I'm buying my tickets.
So, as the lead Spidey in the group, man, what are your thoughts, brother?
I love this and hate this all at the same time.
Okay.
I am one of those
What-
Spider-Man fans that can't be satisfied. Okay, so here's one of my big issues with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. It's always been my issue with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Spider-Man in the MCU cannot have his own villains. He just can't. They're the last two in the last two movies have been Tony Stark B list, C list villains. Like they were mad at Stark for something and Spider-Man just got caught up in it. And now in this one, it's like, okay, these are Spider-Man villains, but they're not this Spider-Man's villains.
Right.
So one of my big, and I've talked with many people about this, and I know that I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. And don't get me wrong, this trailer was awesome. Like I was watching this, marking out the whole time. So this trailer did what it was supposed to. It got me super excited about this movie. However, my logical brain after watching it a couple times is like, but they're still doing the same thing where it's like they're not Tom Holland's villains. They're other Spider-Man's villains. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I and you have all of them. Like I'm pretty sure I saw Harry Osborn. It's either James Franco's Harry Osborn or the one from Amazing Spider-Man 2. Because if you look in one of these parts, I saw it before and I tried to screen cap it and like zoom and enhance and I couldn't get it. But right here, this one right here, that I don't believe that
James Dewan, I think, is his name.
Yeah, I think that's James Dewan's Harry Osborn. Or Green Goblin. I don't think that is William Dafoe's, because we just saw William Dafoe's the scene before. Now maybe he enhanced his suit throughout the movie, but I have an issue with Spider-Man not having his own villains ever.
Well, I think if they're going to go such great lengths to give us the classic Green Goblin from the movie, I don't think they would do anything to quote unquote upgrade to anything that looks like that. So it's got to be something different. Whereas you said it's like it's either James or Dewan. I don't know what exactly that is, but to me this trailer, it satisfied everything that I was looking for in a trailer. Now, I could have gone up until the movie came out and been completely fine with just going into the movie and being like, okay, what am I watching? Because to me, I feel as if the internet gets spoiled with, what are we getting? Like I know now, for anyone that's, for spoilers, please, shut this off. Don't listen. Because I'm going to spoil possibly, because there's so many spoilers out there that are misleading and some are just plain false. But apparently, Matt Murdock / Daredevil is going to be in this. We know that Disney Plus is doing a Marvel Daredevil series. I
don't know
limited run.
I don't know if that's confirmed though. I've heard of talk of that, and there's been rumblings, but I don't think that that's something that they've actually done yet.
I'm pretty sure it is, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Ask Mona; she'll let you know. She loves to let me know.
That's what the ladies in our lives are for.
Right. The moment we stop, the moment we start being right is when something's up, but rumor has it, Daredevil's in this movie. Rumor has it, and it's 99% certain that Toby and Andrew are in this movie. We're pretty sure that they are in this movie. All of us, are if we were betting people, we would bet that they're in this movie. I don't need to see them in this movie. I don't need to see it, or I'm not in the movie, in the trailer. And I know that there are going to be those people who already have said before the trailer came out, if they're not in the trailer, we're gonna complain. And I've been always in the frame of mind of save something for the movie before the movie. Why do you need to see that shit before before the movie comes out? Save something for when you go there. So for me, seeing Green Goblin actually in the trailer, I was ecstatic. And seeing Sandman, because I loved Hayden
Christian Smith. Hayden Christian.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. He was one of the good things about Spider-Man 3, and I loved Spider-Man 3. Despite how they fucked up Venom and all the negative things. Like I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I mean, it's a bad movie, but I enjoyed it. And he was one of the positive things about that movie. In fact, that's kind of one of the things I'd love to do is review each one of the Spider-Man movies with you. because I think those are my strengths of the Spider-Man franchises. Something I was going to bring up on one of your Thwips and Quips is like those are my strengths of the Spider-Man stuff. Is I know each one of the Spider-Man movies and I've got each one of them. So I think that's something where I'd be on equal ground with you instead of me having to kind of peek into what you know.
Challenge accepted.
But that's one of the. All right. But seeing those things, I don't need to see Andrew and Toby. I can wait for the movie. I don't have to see Daredevil. I can wait for the movie. And if they're in there, awesome. That's a special treat. Now I know, based on what I've heard, the toys show Andrew and Toby and supposedly those things. Again, if they're there, awesome. If they're not, okay. Again, everything you're showing me in this is enough to satisfy that thirst that I had for more Spider-Man. But again, I didn't need this. Now I know there's some people that they were craving, and those are the nutso fuck jobs that they go ballistic. But I loved this trailer. I thought it was wonderfully done. I think the problem with today is that everybody on the internet, they have to have it now. It's that instant gratification. For me, I'm not like that. I can wait for some things, and this was really wonderfully done.
Well, and I actually wanted to talk about this scene right here next. First off, I know why they're putting Lizard in this movie, because they're pulling all of the villains from all the other movies. So I know why he's there, but I hate the fact that he's there. Lizard is not a villain that I have ever thought would be a good, and I know that I'm pretty sure this is setting up the Sinister Six, but Lizard has never been a good member, even a member, maybe. I don't think he's even been a member of the Sinister Six. So, I mean...
Well, he wasn't... The thing about it is, the Sandman was very interesting. Even Electro was interesting. The thing about it is the Lizard in the very first movie was not very interesting to me. He was the worst thing about that movie. Even though it was an origin,
I
like
the actor who played him, but I didn't like the plot to make everybody look like Mario Goombas from the Mario movie.
And that's exactly it. I really felt that the Lizard or the Doc Connor from the Toby movies, I really felt I was really looking forward to seeing him eventually play the Lizard, and I really wish we had gotten that opportunity. And to finally see the Lizard come to fruition with what we actually got, I really was disappointed with that. That movie was really disappointing. I hope they give this guy redemption. And I was one of the few people that enjoyed Electro from Andrew's movies. I enjoyed that. Once he was actually Electro, not the Batman Forever Edward Nygma knockoff that they, made him pre-Electro in that movie. But I like Jamie Foxx as Electro, and I was interested. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, didn't they show the actual Electro suit in this trailer?
You can see there's a spot where you can see his kind of like the suit, but it's more of the mask is actually more of just when he shoots his electricity, it makes an electro mask around. It's kind of weird. I'll try to find it here. But where's he at? I thought I had it, but I guess not. But yeah, I mean, I know it was in the beginning. It was like a quick flash in the beginning in the preview to the trailer. But here. There it is. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see, but you can see it right here. Okay, so you see how you can see his face, and he has he has some kind of electro suit right here, but then you can kind of see how the mask kind of comes up, so it's kind of like the electricity coming off his face, but it looks like the electricity from comic books. So
yeah, it's a nice nod to that. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, going through it that quickly, it really did look like the suit. So yeah, it's a nice nod to it. So yeah, I like it. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing them have, redemption for what was, considered by many a flop. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I really am. I think it'll be a wonderful film, and a guilty pleasure to bring some of these characters back where they weren't done right the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, as I said, it suffers from the same problem that it suffered from the same problem though that the other two movies did, because I was hoping to see Mysterio, and maybe they're in here, but I was hoping to see Mysterio and Vulture in this. You know what I mean? Like, they're supposed to be main members of the Sinister Six. Plus, hey, I know that they're kind of not, they're now kind of Spider-Man villains from the other Spider-Man movies in the MCU, but yeah, I mean, I've always had an issue with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, because his villains are never his own, and it seems like this is following that same progression. And I get it. I wanted Alfred Molina's Doc Ock back. I wanted, I love William Dafoe as the Green Goblin. I loved Hayden Christensen as the Sandman. Electro, okay, Lizard, but
Well, I'm still convinced that the other ones are going to show up, because I know in Morbius they had Vulture in that one, so I'm not convinced that we're not going to see a glimpse of Mysterio, and we're not going to see a glimpse of Vulture. I mean, to me, I think this was more of, here's what you haven't seen before, because we've seen Vulture in Spider-Man, so to show him in this, that's not anything new. To see Mysterio in this, that's not anything new. And plus, the character, probably faked his own death. Maybe he's dead. I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't take nothing to bring him back from a different universe or something. But to me, it's one of those things of this. The point of this whole trailer was just to show, here's all the bad guys that you have not seen in a Spider-Man film before. And this. Yes, exactly. This is what's going to draw everybody from the past without showing the two other Spider-Men, if the other two Spider-Men are there. And I'm sorry, but you're not going to go to the other universes. And again, this is just my opinion. You're not going to go to the other universes without bringing the other two Spider-Men there. And that nod that Doc Ock said when he's like, "You're not Peter," that right there is a wonderful tip of the hand to say you're going to bring the other two Peter there, because why would you put that line in there, if you're not going to show the other two? So to me, this is just a great trailer to show exactly of what's coming. And like you said, money shot. This is exactly what it needed to be for your general audience, to get them curious. And for everybody who was turned off from a movie like Eternals, who wanted to go for your action scenes, this is exactly what you need for an action scene. Because there was nothing but fights and explosions, and what are we going for? This is your movie to go to, to draw interest back into your franchise. So it hit all those notes, appropriately.
So one of the other things I want to kind of point out is, we knew that Spider-Man and Doctor Strange were going to have like a moment of clash. But now we know that they're like actually going to fight, because I mean, Peter obviously steals whatever the MacGuffin cube is that he took from him earlier. And now you guys, in the image I have right here, you can just see, doing teleporter hijinks, and Doctor Strange, doing the whole pulling him down with the whip, and then astral forming him out of his own body. And so I feel like that's going to be this would be an interesting fight, because Spider-Man and Doctor Strange are always interesting fights. As you can see here, Doc Ock also has some upgrades, at least on one of his arms. So this makes me wonder how much. Go ahead.
I'm wondering if some of the Into the Spider-Verse stuff is going to tie into this, or if this is going to lead into the next Into the Spider-Verse movie. Because the one thing about this movie, I mean, that movie from Into the Spider-Verse, that was Sony's most successful Spider-Man movie, bar none. And I know they're doing another one. I think it's supposed to be starting in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. And do you think any of those things are going to tie into this? Because you have, the What If series, which is of course animated, which is supposed to tie into some of the movies or referenced in some capacity. Do you think? Because I noticed some of those, like you said, the Doc Ock arms are different. And I think somebody said online that they thought it might have been a reference to like Octavius, her arms maybe. Do you think maybe some of those references are possibly from that?
I mean, I feel like this will, because that's their ultimate goal with the Spider-Man movies is to into the Spider-Verse, like, and that's including Tom, like bringing them all together, outside of the
Right.
MCU, because there's the Sonyverse, which is what Into the Spider-Verse and Venom and Morbius and and loosely these Spider-Man movies are supposed to be in, but they've been looking for a way to bring Spider-Man literally into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales and Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Ham and all that, and so there's no doubt, like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too with this, where it's like, okay, we're bringing all of this together, and I would not be surprised by the end of this movie if we see Tom Holland face to face with like Miles Morales in cartoon form. You know what I mean? Like in a post-credit scene or something after they get the whole, because Into the Spider-Verse 2, they've got to have, they're gonna have Tom Holland in that one. They've been teasing that since the first one. And what about Venom? Have you seen the second Venom yet?
Yes, I have. Yeah, my boss Drew and I went to go see Venom. Yeah, we saw that.
Okay, so at the end of that, something crazy wacky happens, which isn't explained, and then Venom all of a sudden is looking at the TV, and there's Peter Parker from the MCU.
Right.
Will he play a factor in this movie? I don't believe
I'm convinced he will make an appearance. I don't think he's actually going to fight, because I think when you have all these enemies show up, I think that's going to be your prize fight, where you tease it in this one, maybe like in an after credit scene or something. I mean, you tease it, but it's one of those things where like you build that up toward an entire movie all itself. So I think that's one of those things where you have like all these villains fighting, but you tease that, where again, it's something you put on the back burner, but that's what you build towards something else. And toward its own movie altogether, because that's, you don't want to have that in this movie, but you want to tease it where you remind the audience, no, hey, this is still out there, and it's something to entice you to come to the next one. But to me, I would love for them to have Miles show up in this one, and you have both the Peter Parkers, in this film. And deal with them in their own way, and either have, Andrew Garfield's, Peter Parker in the Sonyverse, and have Tom Holland's Peter Parker in this one, in the Marvel, and both of them, continue their adventures. Or what I would do is have Tom Holland's Peter Parker in the MCU, and have, the Miles Morales one in the Sony. Therefore, you have both Spider-Men, able to coexist, in their own different universe, but still coexist. And, both of them can kind of freely do what they own want. And you have two different Spider-Men coexisting. Because it's kind of, that's kind of what they did in the comics somewhat. They both were in their own universe, and then they kind of came together. And I think that would kind of make sense. What do you think?
I mean, as I said, it's going to be a cluster no matter what. And I'm not saying a cluster isn't bad. I just say it's all going to be action figures thrown together is what it's going to be. And Frankazoid, I do agree with you. It is a pity that Spider-Man never truly has his own villains. I made that point earlier, and I've talked. The Frankazoid's actually one of my friends, and we've talked about this point before, where it's like, as I said, I mean, I like the Sandman. Electro. I'm willing to give Jamie Foxx a second chance as Electro because I like Jamie Foxx. I just didn't like the portrayal that they gave him in Amazing Spider-Man 2 as Electro.
Right. Right.
You know, love Alfred Molina's Doc Ock and love William Dafoe's Green Goblin. They do tease in this one. They're saying all these people were destined to die fighting Spider-Man. Okay, so are these resurrections or are these pulled out of time at the very last minute? But I'm pretty sure we saw William Dafoe's Green Goblin die, like like stabbed in the crotch died, like, you know. So that's why I'm kind of like, you know, I don't know about all this. It kind of just, and I don't even think, did the lizard actually die or did he get transformed? He just got transformed back, right? I don't remember.
I couldn't tell you because that was probably the only movie that I kind of blanked out on because I was like, oh God, this piece of shit. You know, I liked him as Peter Parker, but I thought his Spider-Man was just kind of an asshole. So I stopped watching. So I realistically couldn't tell you. I don't know. And I you know, that was the one character that I didn't like him. So I couldn't tell you, you know.
It's okay. I just was curious.
Yeah.
Electro didn't die, did he?
He dissipated. Because I think, I mean, they played like a weird game of like Spider-Man ping pong or Spider-Man pinball. Yeah, because it was like pinballing all over the place, and then he just dissipated. Because I think his body couldn't be contained or something. Forgive me if I'm misremembering. It's been so long since I've seen that movie. I need to rewatch the stuff before I actually go back and, you know, into this movie. And that's one thing that I think that this movie is going to do for people like me who hasn't seen these movies in like, you know, a decade. You're gonna want to go revisit these movies because you're gonna be like, man, you know, I haven't seen the Green Goblin Power Rangers costume in, you know, 15 years. Let me go watch this again.
And it looks the same.
Yeah, let me go watch the the Bad Venom movie from, you know, that 70s guy. You know, it makes you go rewatch the intolerable movies again that you normally wouldn't have or that you skipped over. You know, just because you're like, let me watch every little thing before you delve into this movie that you feel is going to be epic. You know, and the thing is, like, we're dissecting every little comment from all these things, and realistically, that, you know, could be a throwaway line, you know, that, you know, could mean something, could not, you know.
It may not even be in the movie at all. It might be a trailer line. You know how they do that? They throw things in the trailer, and then you watch the movie, and it's not even in there.
Well, the thing is, like, and I'm convinced because I've watched this a few times. When the lizard's jumping, like, it looks like he's jumping towards something because he's not looking at Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Like, it looks like he's jumping towards something else. And
probably
it like I'm convinced that they've taken out like the other two Spider-Men in that, because you know how in like some of these movies where,
let's say that's going to be like Avengers Infinity War, when you saw the Avengers running in the woods and with the Hulk there, and like that was never there. Like I agree with you that it could be a like they just took out Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man out of that picture, and we're gonna have a 3-on-3 fight here.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm convinced that, you know, for at least that scene, that we're not getting the entire picture.
Oh, absolutely. I hate the fact the lizard, and this may not be the Sinister Six per se, but I mean, there's at least 5 of them. There's Goblin, there's Goblin, there's Ock, and then there's these 3 right here. It's like, what are you building towards? But if they're gonna, I mean, they're talking about doing the Sinister Six movie, and I really hope to God that this is not the Sinister Six. I don't want Goblin a part of the Sinister Six, and I don't want Lizard a part of the Sinister Six. I am okay with Mysterio, Vulture, and Electro, Sandman, Ock, and who's the 6th one I'm missing?
Well, you've said before. I'm not as familiar with the Sinister Six as you are, but you've said before that the Sinister Six is more of the lesser villains. Like, so you don't necessarily need the Green Goblin.
No,
I-
but
so I agree
would
with you.
still
Like-
I would still consider Doc Ock as a major. Even Sandman, technically, Electro, like a lot of them are major. Mysterio, Vulture. I mean,
Well, I don't know if I don't know if Doc Ock would be like I feel my personal opinion. Again, I could be wrong, but I feel like Spider-Man 2 made Doc Ock step up the game, at least in the public eye. Of you're kind of a B-lister ish, but like it definitely made him more of an A-lister in the public eye because he was a terrible threat in that movie, at least in my eyes. But to me, I feel like in this movie, Doc Ock is more of a powerhouse than a group ensemble. But then again, for maybe what they're going for in this universe is, hey, let's bring together all these powerful villains to overstop Peter. Maybe in this universe, you don't want to have the B-listers because you really want this to be an overwhelming threat for Spider-Man. You know, they all want to kill Spider-Man because, he's destroyed their lives and they all want to do that. So, I mean, it would make sense in the context of the film. And to me, I buy that. You don't care about the B-listers. You want people who are like, nope, fuck Spider-Man. So I get that. So in that context, it completely makes sense. As opposed to, the guy who shot Uncle Ben. Let's get that guy in the Sinister Six. He's a B-lister. So to me, I think that makes sense.
well, that's like Joe Chill joining the Legion of Doom, and that is a reference for Frankazoid. So yeah, I mean, just kind of to wrap things up a little bit here.
Sure.
Just because I don't, trailer reactions and stuff, I don't like for them to last too awful long. But
Right.
what do you want from this movie? Like what do you feel
Realistically-
like you want out of this movie?
Realistically, my expectations are like I'm easy to please. Like when I go to a movie, all I want is 2 hours. I just want to go stuff my face full of popcorn, forget about my life for 2 hours, and just enjoy myself. Like if it's a piece of shit movie, I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, I can afford the movie ticket, I can afford the popcorn, I can afford the soda, and I'm gonna go have a good time. And what's that, Drew?
You can't afford it according to your wife.
Yeah, I can't afford it according to my wife, but but I just want to go have a good time, and
Stealing her Kevin Hart
and what is that, Drew?
Stealing her Kevin Hart money.
Yeah, I'm stealing her Kevin Hart money. But at the end of the day, I just want to go have a good time, and forget about things for a couple hours because there's so much negativity in the world, and if I can go, turn off my brain and enjoy a movie, eat some popcorn, and I'm easy to impress. So I know there's some people out there who they have a checklist and a bucket list of items, and if everything's not checked off, they're going to be pissed off, and they're going to be writing, commenting on every thing that Sony does that they're pissed off, and that's not me. So I'm going to take my kid to it. We're both going to bring our Spider-Man action figures. He's going to bring Miles. I'm going to bring Peter Parker. And we're going to go have a good time. So for me, it's a father-son thing. I'm just going to go have a good time for a couple hours. So, to me, I'm already happy, and I haven't even gone yet. So, I'm good.
Are you though? Are you? No, I'm kidding.
You know me. You've seen my movies. I'm easy to impress, man.
I mean, I've seen your movies.
Doesn't take much, man. Doesn't take much. What about you, man? What are you looking forward to going into this movie, man? I mean, is there anything that would dissatisfy you, not impress you? Is there anything that would dissatisfy you going into this movie?
Dissatisfy me?
Yes. Is there anything that would piss you off?
Oh, if it just felt like that they were borrowing more villains for MCU Spider-Man because he can't have his own villains. That's been my main complaint. I really don't have much of a problem with Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but the thing that pisses me off is that he's always borrowing villains from somewhere else, and it's like I really, and this trailer has given me that vibe that I mean they're definitely banking off of the Amazing Spider-Man and Raimi Spider-Man's movies. And as I said, it's not that they're bad. These are good villains. I I want
Look.
Spider-Man to have his, and I get it. He's borrowing from other Spider-Man, so now it's kind of like taking from one hand and giving to the other. So I mean, I should be happy, but at the same time, I'm left with this hollowness of villainy.
Well, let me ask you a question. Speaking of borrowing, there's one thing in this trailer.
I'm sorry, you have to buy your own popcorn.
Well, if we ever go to a movie, the popcorn will be on you. So, I'll eat popcorn off the floor, so I'm good. I don't care. I'm not proud. Watching this trailer, it looks as if we're going back to a Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield trope of the girlfriend's falling.
Oh God, yeah.
We're reaching out to save her. And will they not save the girlfriend? Let me ask you two questions. One, do you think that he's going to save her? And two, does that bother you that they are going back to this tried and true Spider-Man?
Hey, Vance, I saw you called me last night.
I'm kind of done with the whole, falling, Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy falling from the high structure. I mean, it's a trope. I'm not a huge fan of Michelle, the new MJ. Like, I don't care. Like, Michelle as a character is fine, but like them trying to pass her off as Mary Jane is like, no. So I mean, but I don't care. Like, really, with this, it's like. As I said, I mean, this feels like this trailer makes it feel like it points that it's borrowing from other parts of the print, like other parts of the print.
Tim's hard. Fucking bullshit. Don't be trying to poach Drew's man now.
So yeah, I mean, I just feel like they're borrowing from other portions of the franchise that have already been done, and that's kind of, as I said, it feels a little hollow. I'm not gonna lie.
Bullshit now. Fucking bullshit. Yeah.
I wonder. I don't like. I feel at this point. I feel like at this point it's kind of earned to do that, because I mean, we care about what's her name, Zendaya.
Yeah.
The MJ character. I mean, this is our version of MJ for this character. I mean, even though like it's not Mary Jane. Is it Mary Jane?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are some people that are still mad that it's not, technically, MJ or whatnot. To me, I'm like, it's MJ. That's just their version. But to me, I kind of feel like this is now finally, like it feels needed. With oh shoot, who was Tobey Maguire's? What was her name? What was Tobey? Yes, I never connected with her. I was like, I don't care. Like, you annoy me.
I never cared for her much either. Just like I hated Tobey Maguire. Ooh, I hated him.
Yeah.
That is a whole nother episode of Quips and Thwips.
Dude, that is the next one. I really want to delve into. Oh my God, okay, we really need to start doing some Spider-Man. Like, I have vacation next week, my friend. We need to have a special edition. Tobey Maguire. Like, we either need to start doing one of the movies, edition. Like, we need to do something. Because we need to discuss your, like, Tobey Maguire, like, slash face through, like, why you hate him so much. Because you every time we talk, you're like, fuck Maguire. I'm like, what? What?
Yeah,
like, we need to delve into this.
It's pretty much it. Like, I mean, with a cactus with no lube.
Is it the... Damn. But, like, I feel like at this point, like, I actually enjoyed Gwen Stacy's death in Andrew Garfield's film, because I didn't think they were going to do it.
I enjoyed.
And then they did it.
Go ahead.
I enjoyed that because I enjoy the actress. I think she's great.
Mhm.
And I felt like her and the chemistry between her and Andrew were great. I like that connection. So I felt like the films themselves weren't all that great, but I felt the connection was great. And the fact that they actually killed Gwen, I was like, oh wow, they actually did this in a more kid-esque film. They actually did it. Like they don't really do that these days. They always have the hero save the girl. So to me, I felt like that was a very ballsy move. So here, we're 3 movies in, and they're finally doing that here, where they've never really put her in that type of danger. So I'm sitting here going, is she going to make it out? Because there's rumors that they're not going to return for another one.
I've heard those rumors
And
too, that this might be the end of the Holland trilogy, and it's kind of like, really? Because you feel like you're just getting started. Truth be told, like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I would hate for this whole thing to go down, and then for it just to be the end, and just, like they finally. As I said, it feels these feel very hollow because they're Spider-Man. Just he's borrowing so much, and I don't feel like I'm satisfied enough with what we're getting here, because Tom Holland's a good Spider-Man. He's a good Peter Parker, but I don't feel like we've gotten enough from this franchise. And he's been in what, 5 movies at this point? 6?
Yeah.
6, because
Something like
Civil
that,
War,
yeah.
Infinity War, Endgame, and then the 3 Spider-Mans now. So I would be 6 movies at this point. But it all still feels very hollow to me. I don't feel like I'm actually getting a legit Spider-Man in any of these movies. I feel like I'm getting the Avengers Spider-Man. I feel like I'm getting the Iron Man sidekick Spider-Man. And I feel like I'm getting the Spider-Man in, like, the Spider-Man live action Into the Spider-Verse here in this trailer.
Well, something else to think about, because after this, we also have, after these sets of films, we have the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have we have the new Iron Man coming up, the new lady taking over, the young kid taking over Tony Stark's place. So there's a new Iron Man coming. Yes. You have the new Hawkeye. You have Miss Marvel. You have all these younger heroes coming up. Is this a universe where it's going to be Peter Parker, the young Peter Parker, or is it going to be time to give it to Miles? Go ahead.
I think that's what they're leading to, but keep going.
Yeah. No, and like that's something to think about. Like, and that's the one thing that I'm excited about this movie is a lot of times with the movies, we already know where they're going before the movie's even ended. I mean, look where we were with Infinity War, or Endgame. Like whichever one it was. Like, we already knew where they were mapped out going into it, and we were like, I mean, we were excited to go because we knew it was going to be epic battles and whatnot, but we already knew where the plans were. We're already kind of like, man, we don't know which way the wind is blowing because they have so much stuff where we're excited, but we're kind of like, Now that can easily cause burnout, and I think that's some of the stuff you saw from Eternals, because you're like, well, it's not my cup of tea. Don't want to see it. I liked it just fine. I went to go see it, but it does raise the question of what next, and that to me is intriguing. What next? So I mean, maybe the question shouldn't be what if, it should be what next.
What if?
What if?
All right. So anyway, coming up on 45 minutes, I think we've kind of talked this trailer to death. I have my stance, you have your stance, and it's okay for you to be wrong, Vance. It's okay. I
Come full circle, my friend, full circle.
I didn't bring a comic book to share because we kind of did this on the fly. And hello, Hunter K. My prediction is that at the end of the trailer, when MJ is falling, Andrew might show up and say, "I won't let the same thing happen to you." That is a very, very strong prediction. And I would say possibly. possibly.
Right on. Right on.
So, with that all being said, V-Man, thank you very much for joining me for this special Quips and Thwips. Let's just call it that. Why not? This trailer reaction
There you
to the Spider-Man No Way Home. Very epic. I had tingles and spingles up and down my spine and wrinkles.
Oh my lord!
I know.
This
I had
is
all the
PG. Keep it.
But at the same
Good God.
time, but at the same time, I did have that feeling of hollowness, and just because as I've said, it's more of the borrowing. But I'm very happy though that at least in this movie, they are Spider-Man villains. Like they are not borrowed from Doctor Strange. They are, Doctor Strange is kind of just a conduit for these villains to get to Peter. So, and as I said, I like a lot of these guys. I love a lot of these villains. So I'm maybe just being an insatiable fan boy of Spider-Man, and I just need to grow up.
I think your thing is create something original with this original Spider-Man that you have instead of rehashing everything from everybody else. And that's, that's all you're saying is create something new and give us something fresh for him. And it's completely understandable. At the end of the day, we'll see where we stand.
That's why I think Venom, if they had Tom Hardy and Tom Holland in a movie where like Venom comes over and then there's the whole symbiote thing that happens, I think that would be interesting. And then it's a different Venom, but still new, but then you can still make it very personal because of the nature of the symbiote in the Spider-Man lore, because you can have the symbiote bond with Spider-Man for a little while in the movie. And then you have Tom Hardy throughout the movie, like, oh my God, I've lost the symbiote. What's going on? And then eventually, like normally it does, the symbiote goes back to Eddie Brock, and then Venom wants revenge because Venom is Venom. And, I don't know. I guess that's still more borrowing, but whatever. I'm done.
Right on, man. Well, it was fun talking to you about this. Like I said, I saw that. I saw the trailer. I had to send it to you. I wanted to talk to you about it because, to me, you're my Spider-Man buddy, and I was like, there's nobody I'd rather talk to about it than you. So I'm glad we did this, man.
Fan. I can't wait to talk to you about Tobey Maguire. Like that. That's going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
Dude, next week, man. Let's set it up. Let's do it. Let's I'm good, man. So let's do it. So
all right. I mean, maybe we could possibly do like a Quips and Thwips. I think every week, like one a week, based on each movie until I think the movie comes out, which is 5 weeks away. That's 5 movies. We could do it. We could take a movie a week and we could do it.
Sure. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm set it up for 10. If you set it up for 10 o'clock, whatever day you want that week, man.
All right, I'm going to get working on it. But, yeah, just be ready for some Tobey Maguire hate. That's all I'm saying. All right. Anyway.
All right, man.
What?
Oh, no, I'm good, man.
Well, with that all being said, everybody, thank you very much for watching. If you are watching on the replay, please don't forget to comment, like, and consider subscribing to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you're kind of hearing about. We just passed 1,100 subscribers, and we are climbing. So just please join in to the fun because we have content all the time. Also, jump over to No Budget Productions, which my friend right down here, V-Man, is a part of. He and Frank Ferretz runs the channel over there, and they do a lot of podcasts and fan films and stuff like that, and they are good friends of the channel. So we always want to promote them, and even though they have more subscribers than us, we still want to promote them because we want to share.
Aw, bless your heart.
So yeah, thanks, Grandma.
I got candy for you.
Oh, okay.
I got a butterscotch in my purse.
V-Man, put the white van away. Come on, man.
I'm creepy.
All right, everyone. We got to go before this gets any more weird. Talk to you later.
Oh, later, man.